Check out this amazing goal that happened this year. The ball goes to the end line, a sombrero move, a pass into the box, and an assist. This goal is recent. Vasco's new signing is this guy here who pulled off that sombrero move in a tight space and then provided the assist for the ball to hit the back of the net. That's not something you see very often, right? Well, what I'm bringing in this video is something different. These are Colidio's most common tendencies that you can really expect to see on the field. I'm going to show you how Vasco needs to use this player to get the best out of him. Is that what you want to know? Let's get to it then. Here's the kind of player Vasco is getting in Colidio. This is a chart comparing Colidio with other forwards in the same league. The blue here represents Colidio, and the red is the average of the other forwards in the league. Looking at the big picture, we can already see that Colidio isn't the one finishing off attacks. The goal chances he gets are much fewer than the average goal chances that other forwards in the league have. While his assists are above average, the number of assists he provides, the number of passes leading to shots is well above average, as are his passes in general. You can see he's not a typical forward who just finishes plays. Instead, he often passes to set up shots and assists, but has few goal chances. The good news for Vasco fans is that he makes good use of the few goal chances he gets, and that makes his goal tally a little above average, even with few chances. That's great news, right? This is very much the overall profile of a second striker, isn't it? Even though I saw a picture of him showing that he's going to wear Vasco's number 9 jersey, right? This overall stats profile gives a very clear idea of what this guy's characteristics are. But the part I like the most is what I see with my own eyes. I watched several plays where Colidio was very dangerous, whether the move ended in a goal or not, whether it was a dribble or an assist, and I noticed a pattern. I think you can see how his mind works. He seemed to me to be a specialist in attacking that space in behind the backline, and what caught my attention is that he doesn't attack it just to get a shot off. He plays well in that space. He understands that space well, also for dribbling, for providing assists, for doing anything. Here, notice that he headed the ball to his teammate so he could get the space and finish easily with no goalkeeper. The goal was completely empty, and that's what I'm trying to say. He won't get the ball directly in front of the goal, but will create chances by playing in the space between the backline and the goalkeeper. The way he shows for the pass shows he's really used to it. Just look. When his teammate is about to receive the ball, look at how he already positions his body and opens up a straight passing lane for the ball to come to him. And here, he has a huge advantage over his marker. He's already facing upfield. He's already facing where the pass will go and ready to run toward the goal. His marker has his back to his own goal. So when that pass comes through, man, he'll have several meters of advantage ahead of his marker. By chance, his buddy didn't make the pass. But that's not a problem. He shows for the pass, and it would have been a great option. When he sees the ball didn't come to him, he switches gears really fast. And look at the path he chooses to run forward. Look, he runs really diagonally like this, see? So he doesn't lose speed in his stride. At the same time, he doesn't end up offside. He really lowers the chance of being offside. Got it? A semi-automated offside technology can show us whether he's going to be offside or not. But the point is, his attitude, that quick switch, changing the direction of his run, was as optimized as possible to really increase his chances of not being offside. In the end, the ball went to the other teammate. He lets everyone push forward and stays further back, and he ends up scoring the goal. That's what I'm talking about. It's not about him attacking to finish, it's about playing into that space. To use the tools he has in his head. Look, check this out. Here he is receiving the ball in this space. Look, he moves forward, and he knows the right moment to slow down. He waits for his teammates to arrive. He buys the necessary time for the team to attack the spaces. Look, and then he positions himself there as the main option to take the shot. He misses an unbelievable chance, right? But do you see it's not just about attacking and running? Here he understood, slowed down, moved, and made himself available. Regarding controlling the offside line, here he pulled a little trick, like just a split-second thing. But that's what allowed him to get one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Check out this detail. When he gets here, when he's about to start running, look. Instead of attacking this space behind the defender right now, he makes a little run. In an L shape, he goes in front of the defender there. Like, imagine this defender trying to step forward to catch him offside. He can't do it. The path that Colidio chooses to run so he doesn't get caught offside is exactly what creates a physical barrier that stops the defense from stepping up to catch him offside. You get it? The defender is forced to wait for him to pass before trying to step up to catch him offside. But now it's too late. Look, the moment of the pass is right here, and the defender is still deciding whether to move forward. A beautiful adjustment, a subtle change of direction, look, passing right in front of the guy. He's responsible for getting one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and here he wasted another unbelievable chance. And then it gives the impression that the guy finishes really badly, right? Man, how do you show that? How do you deal with a striker who misses goals like that? But that's relative, man. I can show you several of his powerful shots from a distance across the goal. High balls, low balls, parallel shots with his right foot, with his left foot, even ball control, some chips, damn. Then you'll get the feeling that he's really good at finishing. So there's no point in focusing too much on the final result of a specific play that happened to decide if this guy is good or not. The thing is to think about how Vasco should use this player with these characteristics and these particular strengths. That's why when you watch videos of a player's goals and skills, you see some of his highlights and the video ends and you have no idea what to expect from this guy when he's wearing your team's jersey. You saw some wild plays, goals, assists, bicycle kicks, lobs, nutmegs. To see how he'll be used on your team, subscribe to Futebol Maximo. You must be subscribed. No one goes as deep into the details as we do. It's free, subscribe. For example, this free kick here. From really far away, the ball smashed against the crossbar with the goalkeeper already beaten. Of course, this is really impressive, but what do I really prefer to focus on here? It's that he's the set piece guy. Whether this went in or not, he's the one chosen among a lot of people by a professional coaching staff to be the guy who also takes the corner kicks, who has the precision for that, and what else does he take? The set pieces, the indirect free kicks, the ones lifted into the box for someone to score. Even if none of those plays resulted in a goal, I focus on this. Man, this guy knows how to strike a ball. For the simple fact that a coaching staff that watches him up close every single day said, guys, should we put this guy on set pieces? Yeah, let's do it. Everyone agrees. This play here, for example, is a long pass to him and the defender messes up here. The defender made a mistake. The defender missed the ball here and he ended up one-on-one with the goalkeeper because of that to score the goal. All right. If you keep focusing on the fact that, yeah, here the defender messed up and that's the only reason the guy got through on goal, you're going to ignore it. That the first person the team looks for when making a long pass like this to start a counter-attack to make a 40 or 50 meter run is Colidio, and that's what matters. Several plays were practiced and several scenarios were tested so the coaching staff could come and say, look, this guy here has to be Colidio. So, what we expect is to see this guy who attacks the space really well and plays well in that space. Like I said, he attacks in behind the back line and he can do it even when that space is really tight. Colidio is also good at that because it's very common to see a striker who only plays well in that space when it's a counter-attack and there's a lot of field ahead, while at the same time there are some strikers who can't sprint 40 or 50 meters in a big run and can only make those short bursts, you know? Colidio excels in this type of attacking play. Notice the small gap between the last defender and the goalkeeper, and how Colidio quickly accelerates. Look, he notices that his teammate has beaten his man, and this run in behind, even when the space is really tight, he does it very well too. In this other play, he's positioning himself, look, so he doesn't get caught offside, see, holding his run, while at the same time giving an angle for the passer and getting there to finish. So here we already start to get an answer that Vasco signed this guy, and it only makes sense to sign him if he's going to play by attacking the space behind the back line. When I say play and exploit, it's like this. This here is attacking the space behind the back line. He attacked, he was sharp. This is him playing in the space behind the back line, reading the pass and the movement, even in the really tight spaces we just saw, controlling the line and then bursting through. And this is so much his comfort zone that in these situations where the opponent's line is a bit higher, he knows how to make things difficult for the defenders, even when he's assisting a teammate to score the goal. Even if he's not the one attacking, you know? Look how crafty he is here, the way he uses his arm well, but his main move was really on this other defender. Notice how he does a little samba with his foot, he takes a bunch of really short little steps, and here would be the most obvious moment to pass the ball when his teammate arrived and moved forward. But at this most obvious moment to pass the ball, he takes several really short steps, really short ones so he doesn't pass at the most obvious moment, and by not passing at the most obvious moment, he makes it a little harder for the defender to keep up with the play, you know? That increases the chances of it working out for him. In this case here, look what happened. The defender, he opened up his body, lost visual contact with the ball, and right when he lost visual contact with the ball, that was exactly the moment Colidio decided to pass, man. Then when the striker got the ball, look, the defender was kind of lost, still looking for the ball, and that's what gave the guy space to finish and score the goal. What I'm saying here is not that Colidio waited for the guy to turn his head, even though that happens a lot. In this play, I don't think that's what happened. Here, I think Colidio just made it harder, you know? He thought like this. I'm not going to pass it now. I'll pass it at a slightly less obvious moment to make it harder for the guy. Man, it was perfect, you know? The big defender really fell for it there, the little samba move, and then the guy was able to score. It doesn't matter how he attacks the high line. Here, he'll dribble. Look. Here, he pulled off a nutmeg, pulled it out of his hat, ran in behind the back line, and instead of just finishing, he set up his teammate for an even better chance to score. Look. The goal was almost open, the shot went straight down the middle and was out of the goalkeeper's reach, you know? So the thing is, man, the defensive line is high, man. He can find some solution, whether it's with speed, dribbling, an assist, or waiting for the right moment. His specialty is attacking lines that are just a bit more advanced. And what if Vasco decides to put him further up front and cross the ball to him a lot? What impression does that give? Some plays from River here, look. We can see that the move always ends with a low finish. Look at him here at the far post. And when this play is really well closed down and blocked, it seems like River goes to plan B. Plan B, and only in this plan B situation does the ball go to him, and here he actually did well. He gets space in the box, sets it up for his teammate, and the teammate can't finish properly. Another play here, look, a move down the byline, a 1-2. First of all, he's arriving here. Look, to finish, it's on the ground, the ball comes in his direction, even when the defense clears it. That's when River switches to plan B, sending the ball to his head and playing it in the air with him. So you see that River much prefers to finish on the ground, to make that kind of pass where he attacks the little pocket of space and just pushes it into the goal rather than actually making him compete in the air. This could be a collective factor, it could be a preference of the coaching staff not to cross the ball in the air and always keep it on the ground. It could be, but the numbers here on this radar show that the percentage of aerial duels won is below average compared to other forwards in the Argentine league. So like, okay, the number of headers and the number of aerial duels could be a collective factor, a preference of the coaching staff. But the percentage of those that are won, that's already a skill of the player. So I think if Vasco just sticks him in the box and keeps sending in aerial balls, I think they'd be using him the wrong way. But to be sure, only what happens on the field will tell.